Thank you so much for making it. We really appreciate it. Before we get started, we have a quick icebreaker for you.
Okay.
Since COVID, we know we couldn't meet over pizza because usually we talk politics and pizza. But the
Yeah.
icebreaker is, what do you feel about pineapple pizza?
All right. So my background is Jamaican, right? So both of my parents are Jamaican. I've been to Jamaica. I've had pineapple pizza before. It is a Caribbean thing. It's a unique taste. I can dig it, but like I'm really a pepperoni guy.
Mm,
I don't
okay.
all I need is pepperoni.
I like pineapple, so I'm on that boat. Yeah, we can do a quick introduction of us. So my name's Nama. My pronouns are she, her, hers.
My name is Bonnie. My pronouns are also she, her, hers.
And my name is Lily, and I also use she, hers pronouns.
Awesome, awesome. And I'm State Representative David Bowen. My pronouns are he, him, and his.
All right, so just to get started, what has your career been like in public service and why did you choose this path?
Well, I have a story. It's more like politics ended up choosing me. Um, I had no intentions of actually running for office, uh, being an elected official. For the most part, I thought I would just maybe go on to be a professor or a researcher. For a significant portion of my school career, I wanted to be an architect. That was the main goal. And then I shifted to kind of like geared towards teaching. But not until I really let it dawn on me that I've been prepared to be engaged in the world of politics, in the realm of politics, at a really a young age, from a number of different campaigns that I worked on with my peers in the city of Milwaukee at this youth leadership organization called Urban Underground. So I did that work as a teenager. My first protest was a KKK rally where we were a part of the opposition side to the rally. There's a number of people from the community that came out, and that energy was unlike anything I've ever felt. So when people work together, when people come together and organize for a common goal and cause and message, that's essentially what organizing is. And we engaged with it that day at the age of 13. We created our own campaigns around teen domestic violence, the school to prison pipeline, the health of our communities, around having fully supported public education. And then I went off to college, found out I wasn't really good at it because I wasn't focused like that. And actually having a break from college was one of the best decisions I made because I was able to be a part of a program called Public Allies. And Public Allies is an AmeriCorps program where, just like the Peace Corps, you serve for the country, but in this case, you serve domestically for nonprofit organizations in the community. So I did the Public Allies program, placed at the same organization I was a youth member of, and then I had a chance to work as a youth worker and a program director. And then I built up this reputation, being involved in the community, constantly being in the news and in the media, and people trusted me on issues that affected my community, um, issues that affected our schools, our neighborhoods, our systems that should be there to serve our community with efficiency and dignity. And before I knew it, I had folks encouraging me to run for a local office. So at the time, somebody I worked with in the community, he was running for a local level seat on the city council, and he encouraged me to run for his old seat on the county board. And at the age of 24, I put my name in that hat, worked that race with a team of high school students. We won that race, and I was the youngest member of the Milwaukee County Board. By the time, uh, even in my first year, I was focused on trying to make my impact on a $1.3 billion budget. Um, and, it was a very impactful just revelation to be able to see, like, oh, wow, well, I guess God has something in store completely different than I could see. And then I served at the county board, worked on some really big pieces of policy. And Sandy Pash is a well-known Democrat in Wisconsin. She served in the state legislature for a number of years and then retired. And when she was getting ready to retire, she encouraged me to run for her seat. So then I ran for state office And before I knew it, I ran and won that four-way race, that four-way primary, with about 54% of the vote in a very diverse district, probably the most diverse district in the state, that represents working class neighborhoods that are Black in the city of Milwaukee, and middle class, upper middle class neighborhoods on the lakefront in Shorewood. So I have a really good balance and a really good diverse district, and I focus on all types of issues that really affect justice for oppressed people, and a lot of changes in our criminal justice system.
That's so interesting how the concept of politics chose you. I think that's really cool, and your path and how it changed. Very interesting. So, for your job, what would you say is the most rewarding part, and vice versa? What would you say is the most challenging part of your job for you?
I think the most rewarding part is when I get a chance to talk to young people. There is nothing like it, especially as someone that worked with young people constantly every day. That's how you stay cool. That's how you learn the newest dances. That's how you know the newest songs. So you got to stay on top of that. But young people have an energy unlike any other. They are focused on just drawing from this place where it's just, it doesn't end. Like, you guys can go and go and go, and it doesn't stop. So I draw from that energy. I survive off of that energy for sure. And then one of the most challenging things is when you want to be in a position to change everything right away. You want to have gun reform so that you can make sure communities are safer, and that firearms that should not be in the hands of people that shouldn't have them aren't in their hands, right? And then that could reduce violence in our communities, violence in our schools. You want to be able to chance to have the resources for all of our schools, so that no matter where you are in your education, and your needs, that you have everything you need to succeed. And you want that right away. I wanted that back in 2012 when I first got elected. And then when I got to the state, I wanted that in 2015. And it's 2021 now. And it's like, we've made small advances. We've made some small gains, but it's not the really big progressive changes I've been really fighting for. So that just means we got to keep working at it. And I get frustrated because sometimes I have colleagues that they don't see the value of attempting to do everything that we can in this moment right now. Sometimes they'd rather wait. Sometimes they would completely disagree and say, David, I don't agree with that. I completely am opposed to, like, the Black Lives Matter movement, or it's hard for me to see the value of putting so much money in education in our young people, or the changes that I want in criminal justice, where I want to give people a second chance. I think, we have a way to go, but we have to keep it up. And I've been inspired by the protests that started in 2020, when Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, and Breonna Taylor were murdered. And then we had our own local cases here in Wisconsin as well: Joel Acevedo, Jay Anderson, Alvin Cole. And we've seen Black lives lost, brown lives lost, and we have a way to be able to protect and prevent so many other deaths from happening, and have a system where accountability for our law enforcement agencies doesn't mean a choice between public safety and the future that we all deserve, that can be fair, equitable, and just. But we have a ways to go on that, so we're still fighting. And I think that's one of the things that tries to get at me sometimes, where it kind of lets you down. But I'm still in the fight, because I'm in it with some amazing activists, some amazing young people.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Sometimes I don't realize how much patience it takes to be a politician and get policies enforced. Like you said, you've been working for so long, but steps are happening. So that's the most important part, right?
So government accessibility for all people is obviously incredibly important. So how are you working to make the government more accessible to people that it hasn't been accessible to in the past?
Yeah, education is so important and big. So you need to be very well connected with the community that you serve. In our office, we do everything we can not to just send people away to another office that might be able to help them, but to help them firsthand with any information and resource that they need, from everyday needs to some of the things that kind of get in the way of people understanding what's going on in the state capitol, the issues that we're talking about, and the clarity that people need. So that's been really big and important. We've been doing that very much, especially with the more needs that are out there because of the virus. And I think it's also important to make sure that you are connecting with, especially young people, because they are very much new to the voting process, to the political process. So you also have to do a lot of outreach to be accessible on social media. That's probably one of my biggest strengths. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all those platforms, we're very consistent and have an amazing staff. So Michael and Bryce in my office, who helped to coordinate me being on this call, they do everything that they can to make sure that they are accessible to.
Yeah, of course. I really appreciate how you said that you're capitalizing on education. That's obviously so important, and spreading more information through social media, since that's the age we're in now, and there have always been a lot of problems with misinformation. So it's so important to make sure that those are very strong. Now, moving on to a more general question, what is your vision for the future of Wisconsin?
My vision for the future of Wisconsin would include an economic ladder that's rebuilt, that allows someone that does not have access to our 21st century economy to immediately get plugged in so that they can provide for their family. We know the statistics that are there for families that don't have access to a living wage income and a stable home. So that is one of the most important things that I see for our future. We are a manufacturing state. We are part of that Rust Belt. It is important that we figure out Wisconsin's economy for the future. And then it's a more equitable future. It's a future where accountability for our Black community from law enforcement is not an option. It is a future where young people aren't voter suppressed out of being engaged in the political process. It is a future where our schools and our neighborhood services are fully supported so that no matter where you live, you have the equal access to opportunity and being safe and being supported just like any other place around this country. And hopefully the best place in the world to be able to raise your family, to be able to get access to opportunity.
Yeah, I completely agree. Once again, accessibility and support for all people, all groups is so important.
Brings us to our last question, which is, why do you think students should take time out of their day to learn about what you're doing and what our government is doing for us?
I would say it is so important to be a part of the decision-making process because it's going to affect you more, because the decisions will be made without you. And if they are without your voice, without your experience, without what you believe is best for the future, people who don't represent the majority of people in this state, the majority of generations that are focused on a safer future, a cleaner future, a more equitable future, their voices will be loud and will determine what that plan, what that vision looks like. And it's important for young people to find their lane to be able to contribute.
Yeah, I totally agree. And thank you so much for speaking for us and helping us, trying to get our voices out. It's really nice to see officials like you working towards a better future that involves us and includes our voices. So
this is the highlight of my day. So I'm so thankful I had a chance to build with you guys today.
Thank you.
Keep up the fight.